Morning. It's Wednesday. Wednesday is my favourite day. I'm working from home today, so yesterday I had a 14-hour shift at work, which was a bit of a humdinger, but today I'm at home. 2 of the 3 kids have already left. Conrad hasn't gone quite yet. He doesn't start till a little bit later today. And having got everyone up and out the house and the lunch is made and the washing up done and the laundry spinning in the machine, it's now about 7:45 in the morning, and I'm just going to have an hour drinking my tea. I've made myself some porridge, and I found the last jar of last year's Christmas mincemeat in the cupboard, so I've stirred it through my porridge so it smells like Christmas, which is lovely. Yeah, I'm going to have a quiet hour. I'm going to watch a little bit of Grantchester on the TV, and then I'll get going with my day. I'm not sure if Jenny and I are going to have the time to be able to record together this month for the Patreon podcast. So I thought I'd just do a little bit of spend some time with me filming on a Wednesday. And this might go up on the Knit Tea Society Patreon page for their exclusive monthly podcast, or I might end up using it for my channel. But either way, yeah, you can join me for a nice cup of tea. Hi everybody. So I started recording a Patreon podcast last week, or possibly the week before, I can't quite remember. And then the whole day went sideways and I completely failed. So today it is Friday, the 1st of October, which is slightly horrifying. And I'm determined to get this September Patreon podcast out to all of you lovely Knit Tea Society members. And this morning the weather was apocalyptic. It really was the end of days. But by the time I got home, the sun had come out, chased away the rain clouds, and we are off to the beach. So I'm sat on a rock by the sea with lovely Jim the dog for company, and hopefully you can hear the waves in the background. I'll take my sunglasses off and squint at you. Is that any better? Jenny won't be able to join us for this episode, unfortunately. Super busy teaching assistant these days, and yeah, we've rather mistimed our recording. I've had a busy week at work. Aren't they all busy? But it's all been good stuff. Lots of clients, nice. Oh, that's too bright for no sunglasses. So my week has come to an end. I'm not long home from work. Unfortunately, I have to take Max for a PCR test because he had a positive lateral flow test, and one of his mates had COVID. So we're off to do that in a couple of hours. But I've got time for a little beach walk and a cup of tea when I get home, and a chance to chat to you about some of my knitting. And I'm in a bit of a funny place with my knitting at the moment, so I thought perhaps if I chatted to you guys about it, you might have some fun suggestions to get me through a little bit of a sticky patch. But first of all, time to walk, I think. I'm back from my walk, and I didn't think to check the mirror before I started. Or take my glasses off, then you won't get reflection. Whew. I found my retreat mug. I love seeing these pop up on Instagram feeds and things. I have been super quiet on Instagram. I still use it and enjoy other people's posts and pictures. I just don't seem to have found the time or energy for creating any content of my own. Anyway, I mentioned when I was down on the beach, I had a bit of a knitting dilemma. I've kind of been doing a lot of obligation knitting. The massive test knit cardigan is now finished, which is fabulous, although I still can't show you. So sorry to keep teasing you about that. And although I absolutely chose to apply to do that, and I'm glad I did, because of the really tight deadline on it, I knit nothing else. Where are we now? 1st of October. I started it, I think, the 3rd week of July. And apart from half a sock, I'm going to show you in a minute, I have literally knitted nothing else. And I'm not a monogamous knitter. I always have 2 or 3 things on the go. Something simple, something complicated. I would say travel knitting, but really no one's travelled anywhere in the last 2 years. Yeah, so having knit an entire cardigan, and I'm now staring down the barrel of Christmas knitting. I've got a lot of knitting to do, and I don't want to. Let me start by showing you my work in progress. I've cast on my dad's Christmas sock, and I'm keeping it in a little project bag that I made myself ages and ages ago. I bought this lovely sort of woodland autumn fabric, just a ½ metre of it, when I was out with my mum in Bath years ago, like probably 12 years ago. And I've just got little scrappy bits of it left, and I made myself a small project bag, and it really is small. There's my hand. It's not terribly large at all. It's fine for a pair of socks, which tends to be what I use it for. And at the moment I'm taking this to work with me. I don't always get the time to work on it, but you never know. The odd 5 minutes here and there can absolutely add up over time. I might have shown you this last time, or it might have been on my own podcast, but my mum bought me a lovely ball of wool to knit socks for my dad. And although it's not a Christmas colourway, as far as I know, it does feel quite Christmassy to me. It's a self-striping, and it's Regia in their candy colour 4-ply in the colourway 01163. I cast this on at a bodybuilding competition in Birmingham. One of Dave's clients and a friend of mine from the gym has spent the last, I've just realised how wonky we are. Is that better? I think it's my selfie stick that's wonky. Maybe that's better. Yes, one of Dave's clients and a friend of ours from the gym entered a bodybuilding competition. There's all sorts of different categories, and hers isn't bodybuilding. It's sort of, think fitness model type. So still quite muscular and toned, but not going for massive size. Anyway, the point is, it was in Birmingham, and with us being in Barry, which is sort of 12-ish miles west of Cardiff, it's quite a drive. It was a good 2.5 hour drive, and I had finished the test knit cardigan the day before and needed something to shove in a bag and take with me, because it's 2.5 hours drive each way, plus whatever, sitting down and watching the show. I didn't have time to cake anything up, and the yarn that Mum gave me was just down the side of my knitting chair in the front room, so I grabbed that and some needles and cast on, and this is how far I've got. So you can see I'm knitting this on DPNs. I've gone up to 2.5mm. I normally knit on 2.25, but I've been knitting so tightly, I've been getting 10 stitches to the inch, which is rather hard on the hands. So I've kept the 80 stitch count that I usually have for my dad's feet, increased the needle size, standard 2x2 cuff, and then although I'm not following the pattern, this is basically a vanilla latte sock, which is a free Ravelry download. It's basically a 3x1 garter rib. Super simple. And I just wanted something where I could go round and round and round, but with a tiny bit of interest. And because it's Christmas socks, I dug out my beautiful, if I hold it in front of my face, it should focus, beaded stitch marker. Are you going to focus? There we go. By Caroline. How gorgeous is that? So really not the most exciting project in the world, but it was enough to keep my hands busy and so nice to have something small and light with little needles to work on, as opposed to a massive cardigan that is just hard to maneuver in your lap. So I've been ticking away on this. I haven't had much time to knit, and I'm nearly through the gusset decreases. Yeah, not far off. Yeah, I like knitting my dad's socks. I like how much he likes them, but they're not terribly fascinating to work on. So that was better than nothing. And then the other obligation knit I've got in my queue is baby blankets. I've got a nephew who's just turned 2. And before he was born, I knit a really lovely blanket, which I can't remember the name of, but it's by Tin Can Knits, and I'll put a picture of it up here. Not a brilliant picture, but you'll be able to see. And my brother and his wife absolutely loved it, and it was the pushchair blanket. It went everywhere with them, and unfortunately they lost it and they were mortified. They went to a big outdoor, might have been something like bonfire night, big fireworks display, and they didn't notice that it had dropped off the pram, and they were gutted. And they rang the venue the next day to see if it had been picked up, but nobody had found it. And now they're expecting their second in January sometime, not too sure when. And I decided that I really enjoyed knitting the first blanket, so I decided to knit another one for baby number 2 and replace the first blanket that got lost. And I had a bit of trouble finding the yarn, but I got there in the end, and I sourced it from Wool Warehouse, which is a brilliant website in the UK. If you are overseas, from what I understand, the shipping abroad is quite reasonable and fairly quick as well. So if there are things that UK-based yarns that you're tempted by, do check out Wool Warehouse. So this is the original yarn for the first blanket. It's Sirdar Colourwheel. And look at that. This is a big ball of yarn. This is 150 grams of yarn, which is 520 metres, 568 yards. And it's an 80-20 acrylic wool blend. So perfect for baby knitting, and particularly for blankets that get put on the floor and get caught up in the wheels of pushchairs. And the original blanket had a cream, you have bands of lace and then a bit of garter in between the sections. And I did cream stripes to go with this for the first blanket. And then I know that the second baby is going to be a girl, so I found a new colourway. This is shade 200, and look at that. Pinks, purple, mauve, little bit of cream. So these are the two colourways. They're actually quite hard to hold. And rather than going for a cream background colour, because you can see that one's got cream in it, I've gone for Hayfield Bonus Extra Value DK 100% acrylic in shade 0593 Granite Marl. And I reckon that that's going to go rather nicely with both colourways. And I need to get on with it because I've got 2 baby blankets to knit and very little time indeed. And I kind of don't want to. I feel like I've just knitted a blanket, and although the pattern is not complicated, it's not brainless either, and there is patterning. I think 2 of the wrong side rows have patterns, so it's not just a question of apply your brain to work the lace across the right side and then purl back on the wrong side. But I must confess, having dug the wool out, I am feeling a little bit more excited about the project. So what do you guys do when you've got things that you do want to knit? No one is making me knit any of this. and I do have a deadline, what do you do? Do you just bribe yourself? Do you think knitting should be fun and cast on whatever you like? Let me know your advice, and let me know if you guys are obligation knitting anything at the moment. I do have an update on this month's Knit Tea retreat. Very sadly, we're going to have to make it online again this year. We were hoping to hold it in person, and when we released the tickets 2 weeks ago now, that was the basis it was done on, although there was always an online only option just in case. And for the first time ever, we haven't sold enough tickets to do it in person. Usually we've sold out within 24 hours of releasing tickets, and this time we're nowhere near. And unfortunately we just can't afford to run it unless we meet our minimum number of attendees. But there were lots of people that were interested in joining us online, and so that's how we're going to do it. So if anyone was umming and ahhing about taking part, there's a link down below this video. Do click across to the website and have a little look. It's a workshop based retreat. I won't bore you with all the details, but there's brilliant workshops. Yeah, so that's now online if anybody would like to join us. And what reminded me to tell you about that is because 2 more of my Knitcrate subscription envelopes have arrived. This yarn is sent to me for free by the company Knitcrate, and they do a monthly subscription box. You can either choose the sock crate, where you get 1 skein of sock weight yarn a month, or there's Knitcrate, which might be DK worsted or bulky. The deal is that they send me this wool for free in return for showing it on social media and talking about it. If you sign up to their subscription boxes via the link down below, it is a, what's the word? Affiliate scheme. So if you sign up, you get 20% off your first order. I get a 20% of the total of your order, and then I get a smaller percentage ongoing. Anyway, the point is they send me yarn once a month, and it often arrives in bunches because it comes from the States, and the vast majority of the yarn gets put into the giveaway prize pot for the Knit Tea retreats or the Knit Tea Society giveaways. And I've had a couple of skeins through that I wanted to show you. So these are all exclusive for Knitcrate. This is their Vidalana sock in the colourway Amargosa. It's 50% superwash merino, 35% bamboo and 15% nylon in a 4-ply weight. And if I hold it back a bit, that's about right for the colour. So it's a tonal blue sea foam colour, absolutely gorgeous. I've never knitted socks with a bamboo blend yarn, so maybe it gives it a little bit more drape. Perhaps it would be better for shawls than socks, I'm not sure. If anyone has opinions, pop them down below. And this one is Knitology Happy Little Sock in the colourway Peapod. And it's 70% superwash merino, 20% tencel and 10% nylon. Again, in a 4-ply. And it's a lovely, fresh, zingy green. Almost chartreuse, it's kind of a yellow green. Absolutely gorgeous, really nice and soft as well. So these 2 skeins of yarn will be going into the prize pot. And also, if anyone is coming to the online retreat, we will be sending out gift bags, and you will also get the, if you're in the appropriate tier for the Knit Tea Society, we will be adding your annual gift in the same envelope, so you get double whammy. I think that's all I've got to share. I've got, what have I got? A couple of hours, and then I'm going to go and take Max for a COVID test. Deep joy. And then hopefully I can get this edited and up on YouTube, so I'm only 1 day late for the Patreon podcast. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you are all enjoying your knitting, even if I am not. And this Sunday is the Knit Tea Society live Zoom, so I'll make sure I post that up with all the details of the Zoom meeting in the group, and I will see a lot of you then.